my channel. This is Adam at ND72. So today, we got my SLK32 back in the garage. So, let's give you a little brief down in case you're new to the channel about my SLK32. So what it is the second fastest SLK in the world. The fastest SLK in the world that is not using nitrous or meth. So remember, no nitrous, no meth. Daily driver, drive it to the track, drive it home. Anyone who's actually seen me out racing, I drive this car 2-3 hours, we'll race it all day and drive it home. Super good car, performs really well. The times it does is 11:00, and that's what we did. Well, it's like 11:08. So basically 11:0 at 124 miles an hour. That is in Florida heat. I think it was probably 80 degrees out, 70, 80 degrees out when I did it. And I spun a little bit. Now, I haven't really done anything else to the car since I did that. We did a few maintenance items through this and through that. But our goal is to be the world's fastest with no meth, no nitrous. Just with performance parts. And what I have on the table is something that will help us do that. Now, before we talk about what's on the table, a lot of you guys could just look over and guess what's on the table if you know too much about what this equipment is. We're going to go over what the car has done to it. So, the car is a SLK32, which is a 3.2-liter V6 supercharged car from Mercedes and AMG. They built it, made a phenomenal car. The car is not a light car. The car is a hardtop convertible. So factory, I think it's like 3,500 pounds. Mine is probably a little bit lighter just for like batteries and seats and wheels and little stuff like that. Now, performance-wise, it has Needswings surge tanks, which are the ones with the crossovers and then large tubes that go to the Y pipe. Needswings Y pipe, that basically goes to the supercharger. Needswings intake, dual intake, which, you know, goes to the supercharger. Needswings 82mm throttle body. The whole car is tuned by VTEC. And then it has long tube headers for Moscow supercharger. That's more or less from the standard performance mods, and then it's basically stacked pulleys. So stacked pulleys has a 65mm from VTEC clutch delete pulley, and Needswings 178 crank pulley. And it has all the supporting mods, like split cooling system, trunk water tank, so on and so forth. Nothing really too crazy. Everything is basically the standard things you would get bolted on. Now, on this table, something that's not super standard that a lot of people have. This is something that will be adding power and dropping temperature. Now, when I say adding power, this doesn't physically add power to the car, but it allows you to get so much more power. So if anyone knows about our supercharger cars, they're horrible with heating. Horrible with heat soak. So basically, after you do one pull, your air intake temp, especially with a stack pulley system, is well over 100, and then you start pulling timing. Don't quote me on this, but I think the timing starts getting pulled at like 110, 120, 130, and you start getting into dangerous areas. So the way people kind of combat that is huge heat exchangers, ice tanks in the back, where then they just add 4 or 5 bags of ice. That's what I have to do when I go to the track. It is a little bit inconvenient. You got to go there with a cooler, and you get like 6 bags of ice, and each hit is roughly 2 bags of ice. You blow through 3 bags roughly. And then even that, by the end, your ice is all melted down. So you start really cool air intake temps, and then towards the end of the run, you can literally see the trickling of my runs. You start losing power throughout that. But this kit will eliminate this. So this is from, can you see my shirt? Force Induction Performance. This is a AC assistant cooling system. I think that's the proper way to say it. Basically what this system will allow me to do is never have ice again. I should never effing need ice ever again with this system. And word of advice, do not add ice to your system if you have one of these. There's some people who ruin part of their systems to it. You use straight coolant, and what this does is while the AC is on, the AC will shoot through this core, cool the water down, and go back out. So if anyone has their AC on in the car, you know in 90 degrees your AC is still pretty effing cold. So this system should allow my air intake temps to drop way below ambient. And it's not like I'm going to be melting ice. This should stay constant the whole way up. So the kit I got is their universal basic kit. They do offer a stage 2 kit where, from my understanding, it's a lot bigger core and a lot other stuff that you get with it. I didn't go that route. I just went with this kit. Now, these kits are not the cheapest one on the market, but they're one of the better quality ones and great reviews on them. These kits roughly are $1,500. Now, if you want to get a little bit discount, you go to forceinductions.com, you put ND_72 as a coupon code, and it'll give you 10% off this kit. This kit should be all we really need, more or less, to do this install. There's a few things you need to get on your own that the kit does not come with. Clearly, all the water lines and stuff like that. If you need a certain fitting or this, you got to pay a little bit extra for that, like So what I got is some 90s. So the things you need to get for this kit, talking about the 90s, you need to get some 12 AN fittings, either straight 90, 45, because in the tank, that's what it screws into. So just make sure you have that. And then for the electrical side of it, they give you a switch and they give you the solenoid. You need to just basically get wires, relay connector, very inexpensive stuff. Last thing you need to do, these clips come with, I can't remember what the clips are called, but they come with this cool new age style clip where you need a little clamping tool. If you own a Mercedes, you most likely already own this tool. It's the same thing that you would like clamp your fuel lines on and so on and so forth. You just need to get a little bit bigger one. But what they also come with, which is very cool, they come with an alignment tool for this. Very, very effing necessary. So, they also give you, for my kit, we got hoses to modify my original lines. You got dryers, you got brackets, you got almost everything, more or less like maybe $20 or $30 here and there, because everyone's system is going to be a little bit different. Now, if you want this system and you don't own a Mercedes, they offer more bolt-on efficient kits for Hellcats, I think Camaros, and a couple other cars where it's literally bolt-on in. My kit is a universal kit. So this will allow you for any car, you go buy this kit and you have to do a little bit of cutting, a little bit more ingenuity, but at Force Induction they also offer bolt-in kits for multiple cars. Hop on their website, look it up, you can still use my coupon code and get a discount on there, and I don't know about you, but for me, when I'm buying stuff and I can sit there and get like $100 off, $50 off, $150 off, $200 off, that's one killer deal, and all you literally have to do is use your little fingers and go ND_72, just like my YouTube. So, today's video is going to be installing it. I'm going to give a brief overview of how I'm going to install it because my system is going to be a little bit different than some people just because of how my car is set up. But you'll get the general idea of what to do, and they have instructions. So when you buy this whole kit, they give you a whole USB drive. Tell them what kind of car you have when you do it though, because your USB drive will have photos and pictures that relate almost to your car. So when I bought my kit, they sent me pictures for other Mercedes that have done it before, so it gave me a pretty good idea of how to do it. So if you have a Camaro, a Hellcat, a TRX, a E55, an SLK32, whatever you got, they will be able to help you out. Call them up. It is a company in Australia that does this. Their shipping, I will say this, holy poop, it is effing fast. Let me put out how effing fast this was. I ordered this on Saturday, paid and everything. DHL was at my house by Wednesday. Now, I didn't get the package on effing Wednesday because it's a signature required item. That's a little bit of a discerning thing, so I had to wait until I was home to get it. But if I was home, or if my associate was home, I would have just got it within 3 days. So super good with shipping, and you email them, they reply back quickly. Great customer service, at least on my experience. And it's not because I do YouTube or anything. They didn't really know about it until after in the conversation. So, I think that's really it. Let's start knocking it out. We'll try to do some before and afters. I think we have all the data of before stuff, so we'll show you a lot of the after stuff. So we'll start throwing this kit in there and have some fun. Okay, first, you're going to be removing the front bumper. So SLK front bumpers are pretty easy to get off. You're going to have, that should be a bolt right there. You're going to have a bolt right there. And then inside the fender, so you can do this on the ground, just turn your wheel. You're going to have some bolts with a bracket right over here. So take your fender liner out, shove your hand in there, and then get it out. Also remember, you will have electrical connections for there and for your fog lights. Unplug them. Don't rip them effing out and then call me and get all mad at me. But let's rip off this bumper and then look at what's underneath this bad girl. So if you can see right there, right there is the nut you need to take off for the bumper. So we'll take that off and make sure we get our electrical connections out, and then it'll come out. So as you see, my bumper looks a little bit different than yours. Normally you have a crash bar over here. It basically will be this bar that goes all the way over. I do not, because at one point I cut it out to add airflow and drop some LBs. So what I did is I basically just boxed that in, put the bar over there, and then it added a little bit of airflow in my opinion. Now, since I did that, it's going to make my install so much easier. But if you did not do this, which that is A-okay, you can either do this or not do this. This is a cheap, probably from a fabricator, very inexpensive to get done. What you have to do is normally with this bar, you either got to put your interchiller behind it or in front of it. And if you put it in front of it, you can do either way. You have plenty of room in these bumpers. So if you see all this foaming, you could easily get rid of that effing foam. So that is one way you can do it. I'm not going to do that because I already have this cut out. So I will be mounting mine to over here. Now, word of advice when you're mounting these, do not put it underneath. Do not really put it over. The reason I'm going to say that is because you do not want to block flow. Okay, you don't want to block any flow to any of the radiators or anything like that. So if you put a big box over here or box over there and you add more blockage to it, you might hurt your performance a little bit. The kit will not be as efficient as it should be. So don't do that. But before we even get to that, we're going to be moving everything over here and getting it out of the way. Because, sadly enough, we got to remove this heat exchanger. It's not needed anymore, but this heat exchanger will be going to a future project that I'll be doing hopefully in the future, which will be a really cool rad thing, so it won't be going to waste. So just to start off, these Needswings heat exchangers are effing awesome, and they are the best by far. Mainly, they come with cool little features. A bleed feature up there, and a drain one. So right now, this is just full of water, so we're going to drain it, because we got to get rid of it. Whee! So you can just drain it right there. That might take some time. I might just take a hose and break it off. But we at least have the option. So, let's get to it. Okay, so we got the Needswings heat exchanger all removed. Now, some people might be asking, oh, why did you have to remove it? Won't that help? No. Because technically, with this new system, the AC drive system, it should always be well under ambient. So all that's going to happen is the ambient air is going to fly over that and actually make it hotter. But on normal application, that thing effing works so good. And I'll be adding it onto my other supercharged V6 car that you guys will be seeing very soon. So it's not going to go to waste. Just in this test, I won't need it. Okay, this video is now going to take a little bit of a slight turn. So, I'm going to be going over how to install this to a point because I messed up a real effing lot and it took me a little bit to figure it out. So almost all the footage of me showing you how to do one thing was not the right way. So at this point in the video, we're going to start showing you the right way to do stuff, and I'm going to go over the layout of my system because it's all installed now. But this is super easy to do. There are instructions that come with the kit, literally go step by step. So I'm going to show you kind of what the difference is with the SLK32 and what I did a little bit different from their setup, which is just something that cost me more money just to make it more user-friendly. So let me show you. Okay, so here's my SLK32. So we're going to go over basically how my whole kit is laid out and give you kind of a guide of what you can do. So first of all, what's going to be different than everyone else, you'll have a crash bar here. I don't have my crash bar anymore. I just have a normal bar, so it mounts directly up to it. Now this unit, you go upside down, right side up, either way, so I have mine technically upside down. And now I have my lines that come in from the cooler, so my tank, so my water tank. So this basically comes from the pump, so on and so forth. So you're basically going to go, they literally have labels, in and out, vice versa, whichever way you have it flipped around. Next little thing you need to make sure, that was a big thing. See how I insulated this line over here? Make sure you insulate it all the way up in there with the insulation that they give you. Go all the way up to the effing nut in there, all right? So this line, which is always going to be hot, do not insulate this unless you're going to put it by something that's hotter than it is. All right? Now, so this is going to be the line that's always going to be cold for you. So, also what I did for my car, I literally, so the out, when it comes out of this unit, it goes directly to my supercharger, then goes to the tank in the back. That's how I'm having it. Now, also, something that's different to me than everyone else. Do you see right here? Here's the switch. So this is the drag switch that will make it not go to the cabin anymore. So normally this line has no bungs. This is your factory line. It usually, the port they want you to put it in, they want you to put it down there. If you can see there's lines down there. I didn't want that, so I went and got a welder, and we welded these little bungs up. So it works out pretty well for me. It doesn't leak anymore. So that's a little bit different to me, and I just did that because I wanted to be more convenient to run basically all my electrical stuff. I am going to wrap this up and make it a lot nicer. But I didn't like having it buried back there in case something went wrong. And for simple things, I like to feel clicking, and I like the relay pretty easy. So you just wire it all up, how the directions show you, pretty effing straightforward. This kit is effing very easy to put. This kit, with their directions, is so effing easy to do. Now, the reason I didn't show you a step-by-step on this is for, like I said, a few reasons. I messed it up a little bit, and then I had to fix it. So I was shooting a video, and I just got frustrated, so the layout's pretty easy. All you're doing is tapping into your stuff. So like right over here, you're going to be tapping into this line that goes to the compressor for this car. And then you're going to be tapping into the other line that I showed you where the solenoid is. Besides that, they have tons of directions on how to use the clamps. They have tons of that stuff. So when you order the kit and all that stuff, and remember, if you do want to order this kit, use coupon code ND_72 to save some cash. And they'll send you everything you need. Also, what I'm going to say, if you need any information from this, contact them directly. They will help you out with everything. Now, we're going to start charging this system up and make sure it's all done. Oh, also, before you ever put any of the Freon in there, get the whole system done up and just completed. Okay, so now that you got your system all set up and all ready, you're going to be ready to add refrigerant. This is going to be a big part of it if you're doing it at your house. You need to put it under a vacuum and suck out any moisture. So how you're going to do that, you're going to get yourself a set of gauges and a pump. You either buy this stuff at Harbor Freight for maybe $150, or you go rent it at AutoZone. You literally could go there, rent their like OEM, whatever it's called. It costs about $300-400 to rent it, but you get all your money back. So you're going to set your whole system up. You're going to do high side and low side. You really cannot mess this up. They only fit on one way. All right, then you're going to have your vacuum pump here, with your little line, and then you're going to set it all up. See how you got like all your little knobs and all your little gauges? So what you're going to be doing is sucking out moisture at the vacuum pump. So what you'll do is you'll turn the vacuum pump on, let it sit for at least an hour, hour and a half. Now, if you had your system open for a while because you were like doing other stuff, let it sit for longer. You really can't go too long. Maybe 2-3 hours is going to be plenty, but do it at your own discretion. Then one other big step you need to do that will save you a lot of time for looking for leaks is when you sucked it out for 2 or 3 hours, you're going to come over here and close these valves back up. Close them up, then turn your pump back off. Okay, so you're going to have everything running, close those two, turn pump off, and then, see right now I got the pump off, but like I didn't really even start it yet. This needle should drop to vacuum, so roughly 30 degrees vacuum, or whatever it is, 30 blah, 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 I can't even think what it's called. But when you shut everything off, it should hold it. So also what it's going to do, so I have everything on right now, so I'm going to turn my pump on, and it will suck into a vacuum. It makes kind of a weird noise. But see how it's sucking into a vacuum? So what you're going to want to do once you get a full vacuum and let it sit for a few hours, I'll show you what, so you know if you have a leak. Okay, so you let it sit for a while, an hour to 2 hours. So now you're going to be looking at your gauges. Let's see if the light helps or worse. We'll do it like that. All right, so we're going to come over here. Very important part. You're going to close, turn everything off. Turn it off, turn it off. There you go. And then shut your pump off. And you're going to let it sit for an hour, and you want this to stay where it was, roughly an hour. If it starts creeping up, that means you got a leak. First, always check to see if these are leaking with some Teflon tape. Then you'll start looking at your system. But after you do that, you'll be ready for a refrigerant. But this is a very good part, a big thing where you have to put it under a vacuum to eliminate any issues you might have. Okay, so now we got everything all charged up. The car was running for a while. Now I want to actually do some testing on it a little bit. So this is 130 effing degrees right now in the supercharger because it was running. So we're going to fire, but it's going to do some brief testing just to make sure everything's all good on the system. And it is pretty effing hot out here in Florida. I think it's pretty hot. Let's see what it is. Right now it is 86 out in Florida. That's pretty effing hot. But let's fire this car and start looking at testing. All right, we got our little scanner we're going to rehook up. Okay, it is literally starting at 60 degrees. It's only been running for a couple minutes. We're already at 60 degrees air intake temperature, and it is 85 degrees out. Now, everything is running pretty loudly, like the fan is on. We're in a garage, if you can even hear me. And now let's go look at our tank water. This should be, whoop, a little bright. This is 60 degrees. Let's change that, try to dim it down a little bit. There you go. Alright, sorry about that. So our tank water is 60 degrees. And it is effing hot. Like the tank is pretty hot too. So the water is 58. Oh, it's even dropping. Look at it. It's dropping as we're talking. So this was only running for a few minutes with this system. And in a garage, I got nothing really else, but we're going to let it sit for a little bit. We're going to put the bumper on and then go for a test drive. We let it go for another like 5-10 minutes. Look, we're already in 46 degrees. Let's go look at the tank in the back. Back here we're at 48. So this is going pretty well. Okay, I know it's a little crooked. We've been driving around a little bit. We're 48 degrees air intake temps right now, and it is 80 effing 4 out. So we're gonna go do a pool. We're gonna do some data logging here in Mexico and just see. I'm kind of low on fuel, but we just want to see like what the temps will go up to. So we're gonna do a nice little 20 pool and see what happens. Okay, so we've been driving around a little bit. When I'm dead stop, it does creep up to no more than like 50-ish, but we're still at 84 out. So we're gonna go here in Mexico and do a nice little pool and just look at what it is. Let's hit record. Record. All right, we got everything ready. right, so it still shoots up, but it's recovering pretty quickly. So it's still dropping, and it's still 84. So let's see what the data is. Okay, so we just got back. Let me see what the water temperature is first. Come on, come on. Can I get to it in time? Rawr. Wow, this floor is burning my feet right now. Okay, we just did a pretty good pull, and we're driving around, and our temps are 59. Can you see? 59. Not bad. Let's go look at the data. Okay, so I looked over the data. We're going to talk about it more or less right now. So, what I was finding out when I was actually cruising and driving just now, it dropped low 40s, almost 30s with air, like literally cruising 40 miles an hour. But when I would stop, it did creep up a little bit. The max I really saw was 50 with like mediumly driving. So what I think one of my issues might be is I don't have enough flow, so I might have to get like a fan. Some people get like secondary fans and all that stuff, so I'll probably do that. That way when I'm at a stoplight, you actually have air passing over it better. But when I did the pool, normally I see well over like 140, 150, 160 out of this car for air intake temps when it's 85, 90 out like it is now. But what I saw this time was 100 degrees is roughly the max I saw. And we were hitting it up, basically doing a full pull all the way up to roughly 100 in Mexico. Nowhere else, just Mexico. So, super effing happy with that. That is a great drop in temperature. Now, I didn't have a full tank of gas. I didn't go all the way throughout, so I don't think I leaned out or anything really crazy about that. Nothing like that. But I do want to get a little bit more information on my kit of just like test it more, see if I do this better, if that does better, or that does better. But for right now, just install it. Super nice. And you saw those recovery times. They just start dropping. And by the time I got home, the tank was at 60 and all that stuff. And I'm a quick flight from here to Mexico. So that was pretty cool too. Okay, so we've been driving the car around for about a week now. It is now 95 degrees on an average here in Florida. Now on an average when I drive it, the temps are 50 degrees, coasting, moving, you know, 40 miles an hour. When I start sitting, they go up to 60, well not really 60, like 58, but remember it's 95 effing degrees out. So that still is like a 40 degree of air intake temp drop from starting. And you can even see, like, look it, I've been driving around, you see how cold, like, that is condensation, that is still effing ice cold there. The car definitely feels a lot more zippier. It feels like you're always driving in wintertime, because now, even though it's 95 degrees out here in Florida, like, it is effing pretty effing hot. This car is still performing great with that little mod. It's helping out so much. Now, I will be upgrading it a little bit more soon. I'm thinking about adding a fan over here, just because when I am at stoplights and all that stuff, it does creep up like 5 or 6 degrees, so right when you start moving forward, it does cool it down, so that's a little bit of an issue, but I could always just contact VTech and just ask them to turn the fan up higher and sooner, which I was told to do that, so I'm going to do that soon anyways. And I'm most likely going to be upgrading my intercooler hoses, because I still have the fat hoses at 5/8. So I'm super happy with this. I like it a lot. And if you guys want to get this kit, remember you can go onto Force Induction's website, put ND_72 and get yourself a little bit of discount when you set up these kits. These kits aren't really the cheapest kits out there, but they're pretty effing good quality, and even the directions they come with are effing great. So I'm super happy about it. So even with this kit, it's low in air intake temps, it's gaining me horsepower, it's making the car safer because you're not really worrying with so much of crazy air intake temps. Now, I will be doing a future video comparing this setup to an icebox setup on my E55, and we're just going to see if this is more convenient, if it's getting better temperatures. We're going to do a full video of like all the temps and all that stuff. I didn't want to put it in this video just because the video is already pretty long. But I hope you guys like it. Hope you guys buy this kit. This is a great kit. It's super easy to install. It looks pretty nifty. I am going to put my bumper back on, but I just left my bumper out just for like so on and so forth, testing if I had a leak or something crazy like that. But easy to install. Hit them up. Tell them you saw my video. Make sure you use my coupon code at ND, like the letter, ND_72 to save yourself some money. And I'll catch you guys later. Lady versus Swiffer. Swiffer wins.